Allison here, the Bored Housewife. I am super, super, super excited for today's episode. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think you guys will think it's really fun. It starts out with a story and kind of ends in a lesson. So I hope you get something out of it other than me just being nostalgic and wanting to tell this story. But this time of year, spring, I don't know what it does to me, but it just brings up these old feelings and this time period, and so I just wanted to share it with you guys, and thought it would be fun for you. So grab a drink, cocktail, dirty martini maybe, and cheers guys, let's have some fun. So let's get to things first. I won't take too much time on this because I'm pretty sure you all have heard of a dirty martini before. Here she is though. You will have recognized her from my video post on Friday if you were able to catch that, or over the weekend. This is a very dirty martini. It is 3 parts gin, half a part of dry vermouth, as much olive juice as you like. I use quite a bit, and then olives for garnish. It's weird because I don't like to eat olives, but I like the olive juice with the gin. I think it just makes it, like salty, and it's just really good. So cheers, guys. This episode, I think, has a lot in it, so I got to get to it. Otherwise, we'll be here forever. Okay, so let me start by saying I'm a very nostalgic person. I don't really believe in reincarnation, but sometimes I feel like I've been reincarnated. And I only say that because I have such an affinity for like other decades, and like everyone kind of does, like takes inspiration from things. But especially with the music and like the culture that was like surrounding like certain decades, I just really pull to it, and I think it's super interesting. Plato, I'm gonna get a little heady for you. Plato, he was a philosopher, a Greek philosopher. He had this idea that we are born knowing everything, okay, with all the knowledge of the world. And in my mind, that would include, everything that has happened up until the day you're born, basically. And the rest of your life, you just spend remembering everything. So you're not technically learning stuff, you're remembering them. So I don't know, I think that's kind of a fun way to think of things, and maybe can explain a little bit of why I am so obsessed with certain decades. But this specific time of year specifically, time of year, just makes me, like, brings me back to this time in my late teens, when I had just moved to New York, and I lived there for maybe 6 months. I think at this point I was 19. And there was a good friend of mine that I had met, and he was unemployed at the time, and I was in college, so we wouldn't necessarily like only go out on the weekends, and we would like go out like on a Tuesday night, or Wednesday night, Monday night, like really random times of the week. And he loved going out, he loved seeing new places, and he like was from the Jersey area, so he was like, he just had knew a lot of cool spots. So I became friends with him, and we would go out all the time. And partly that's really fun too. Like, he was never romantic interest at all. I think maybe when we had first met, he was kind of thinking that, oh, maybe. But then I kind of friend zoned him instantly. But he was totally okay with it because we had so much fun going out. So that was also awesome, being in my young 20s and having somebody like that in my life that was like a male in New York City that, was the big brother type. So I always felt so safe going out. But anyways, we ended up in this place one night and he found it. I don't know if we just stumbled upon it or if he like had heard of it. But the bar is called Home Sweet Home. And you walk down into this basement, and it just looks like if you're walking by it during the day, it looks like absolutely nothing. It looks like a garage door or like like storage units have those like roll up doors on them. It looks like that during the day. And then at night, when they open it up and there's this like big space in there, and then there's these stairs that go downstairs. So you go down the stairs, and there was like a bouncer standing outside. And so you go down the stairs, and we go in there, and it's just this like dank, dark little bar. And it's weird because like when you walk in, the bar's kind of like the front part of it, like kind of there's a little sitting area. And there's like a really old like looking Victorian couch. And I think there like might be another chair or something like and a coffee table. So they kind of have it set up like a living room. But the furniture is like gross and old, but it's fun. And they have like big like lamps with the fringe on them. And then they have these like taxidermied animals, like a fox, I think, or something is like, and they have like the bottom of the bar is like a display case almost. And they have all these like oddities in the bar. It's like very weird, but very cool. I think they have like some stuffed like birds and stuff too. I don't know. It's just wild in there. But it's very dark and dank, and you feel like you're in a basement. It's like cement floor. The floor's all cracked and gross, whatever. Smells musty. But I walk in there, and I'm just like, oh my God, this is the coolest place I've ever been in my life. And it just had it was, I think, a Tuesday night, and it just had a cool energy about it. And I remember they were playing this really weird music at the time, and it was not my music, and there was some weird group of people in there. But you would walk in, and so there would be that little sitting area, and then you would walk along the wall, and it was the bar on one side, and then very little space on the other side. And they had bar seats and stuff, but to get by it was kind of not very much space. Then at the end of the bar, they had this really cool DJ booth, and then it opened up into this big space, and they had a disco ball in the middle, and then on the outskirts of the dance floor area, they had these seated benches that they had made. And then if you went a little bit further, there was a bathroom, a few bathrooms in the back. And it was just I don't want to say it was necessarily a dive, but it was, because it wasn't dive in the sense of shit written, stuff written on the wall and everything. It had its own thing to it, but it was kind of dirty like a dive, if you get my getting. Anyways, so we went there and we had so much fun. And I'm guessing during that time, the bartenders were like, oh, hey, you guys should come back on Friday nights. We do, we have this really cool DJ on Friday nights, and it's kind of 60s music. And we're just oh, okay, And I'm okay, that's really up my alley. And they were it is a cover. It's $5 or something like that. And it's all right, yeah, definitely worth checking out. So we go back on a Friday night, and this place is packed. And there's a line down the block to get in. It's just insane. Again, you would totally not even realize what people are waiting in line for, because it's just weird. So we get in there, and the music is insane. And I don't the DJ was so special. He brought his own records. And I don't know where this dude found his records, but that's how he DJ'd, was with 2 record tables, in the old days. Some of you might know what I'm talking about. Some of you might have no idea what I'm talking about. But they used to DJ with two separate record players, and like one would switch on while the other would switch off, and then he'd get this one going, and then they'd like go back and forth. Like that's how this guy DJ'd, and he would bring his own collection with him. So it was like, oh my gosh. And like, I love that music. And it wasn't just like 60s, like the Beatles or, psychedelic music, or it was this really cool underground music like I had never heard before. And it was like the best way I can describe this music, and it's hard to like find examples, but like I think it's Booker T and the MGs. If you look up the song Green Onion, like I think that's kind of like the best example I can find for like that style of music that they were playing there, because it was like this kind of bluesy, like it kind of had like a bluesy feel to it, but then they had that like doo-woppy sound that you had from like the 50s mixed in with like all these different instruments and like kind of psychedelic feel. So it was like really interesting. And like the place was just packed with people, like wall to wall. You could like, you have to like, be like, excuse me. Like trying to get through like the bar area. It was completely different than that Tuesday night we were in there. And I was just like, I have arrived. I have met my people. And we danced our asses off, and it was hot, and it was sweaty, and it was gross, and we're all like dancing and like shaking and like feeling all like cool. Like imagine like, okay, the best way I can describe is like, if you guys ever watch Anne Margaret dance, she was in Bye Bye Birdie and like Viva Las Vegas with Elvis, like how she danced and stuff, like everyone was dancing like that, and I was dancing like that, and it was just so much fun. And we would just like we might get like one drink at the bar, but it was like you can't dance like that and hold on to your drink. Imagine holding a cocktail glass, like trying to dance. So like it was just so much fun. And yeah. So the reason why I get so nostalgic about that place during this time of year is like I just remember going there when the weather was kind of getting nicer, I guess. And this time of year, just like, summer's coming, it just puts like a new pep in my step. And I think I might have a little bit of like seasonal depression. And I'm not saying that to joke around, like, not that it's like bad or anything, but it's just like the winter just kind of like drags you down, And so the minute I start feeling like, oh, we had a warm day or something, my mood lifts. And I start thinking about this place every year. Like every year this happens. So one of the best things about that place was I was underage when I started going there. And I quickly became friends with the bouncer. If you guys don't know this, it is important to become friends with the 3 B's. The bouncer, the bar back, and the bartender, okay? Very important people to know. Honestly, bouncer's number 1. Because if you like a place and it's a very busy, popular spot, guess who's getting in? You are. Guess who's not paying the cover? You are. You're not paying the cover. So, I became friends with the bouncer there, and I wish I could say his name, but I feel like, out of respect to him, and if anybody ever sees this, I wouldn't want to get him in trouble. So, and he didn't know I was underage. I had a pretty good fake ID. But we'll call him Big Jimmy, okay? So Big Jimmy was a very big man. And I befriended him very quickly. And he just really liked me, and he was a really nice guy. And so, a few times he would just kind of let us in, and we would have to still pay cover, which was like, okay, whatever. And then a few other times, us being there, he just kind of like was like, oh, hey, they're with me. Well, the person that was taking the money for the cover didn't like that. So I don't know if that person was like connected to the DJ or what, but they didn't like him letting us in without paying. So we get there one night. I was like, hey, Big Jimmy. And there was like a line down the block. And he was like, Allison. Or he might have called me Allie. Oh, Allie, like there's my girl. And yeah, I give him a big hug. And I was like, can we go in? And he was like, actually, I have a new way for you to go in. And I was like, oh, okay. So next door to this place was like what looked like an outside of an apartment building. And it turns out that the owners of Home Sweet Home in the basement, I don't know if they own the whole building or if they were renting, but they were renting the space that you walked into. So we went in and it looked like an art gallery. I think it was. It was like a very small art gallery. And they had like different stuff on the walls and everything. And I was like, well, this is really cool. And it turns out they were like making another bar in the back. So like you would walk through the art gallery and then there was like another cocktail bar. I don't think it was open yet when he started letting us do this. But that place was cool, but it was like very datey spot. Like it wasn't as much fun and like dancing and stuff. It was more like you get your cocktail and sit down and drink it. But anyways, so when you walk through the art gallery, there was this like door with an exit to somewhere. And the door led down these stairs right into Home Sweet Home. So he would just let us in to the gallery and then we would just walk through that door and then we would walk into the club. Like we would walk into the bar. And it was so funny because like sometimes we get there and it was already pretty packed and stuff. And so when we would get down there, like I would like slowly open the door and there would be like people like leaning against it because it doesn't look like the door goes or does anything. And I don't think that you could open it from the inside, like from inside the bar. Or maybe you could because it was probably like a fire escape. But it was like obvious you weren't supposed to be like coming in or out of it. And so we would like walk, like me and my friends would like come up and like go down through there. And then we would like get in there and people would be like, where did you guys just come from? And I would just be like, you didn't see this. Just ignore us. We're not doing this right now. And people were like, okay. And like people sometimes would try to like hold the door open to like see what's in there. I was like, nope. I might have been like, we work here. It's okay. And they're like, oh, all right. It's like so easy to fool people sometimes. You just have to like tell them stupid things. But so that was B. That was Bouncer B. Big Jimmy. He was amazing. I used to also say to him, I'm like, Big Jimmy, when I get famous someday, will you be my personal security guard? And he's like, yeah, I'll be your security guard. Big Jimmy, if you know who you are and you see this, I need a security guard. No, not yet. Probably never. But then my second B was the bar back. Now, I never became very close with the bartenders, but I didn't need to at this place because my bar back, we'll call him Fredo. That is not his name at all, but that's just what first came to my name. Fredo could make drinks, so it worked out really well for me. So I would usually buy like one drink there, and I usually would buy a Guinness. And then, you know, like I was saying earlier, you can't dance and be crazy and stuff when you got a pint of Guinness in your hands. Like, it's slopping all over the place. So that's when this nice little friend called a shot comes in handy. So, you know, we would all kind of get our one drink, and then we like scope the place out, and we try to like find our spot. And depending on how busy it is and stuff, you know, we might not actually get a spot, but at least you know your spot on the dance floor, sort of. So Fredo was really nice to us, and he was funny, and oh my God, he started this thing called the Pole Strikes. And so you would get so many crazy people in this place sometimes. And for whatever reason, he would always find people making out by this one specific pool. Because it was like in a basement, there were just like these random like foundation poles or whatever, like throughout. And like people loved making out on this pole. So anyways, that's beside the point. But it was really funny that he started like an Instagram hashtag like the pole strikes, and he would like photobomb people behind it. Like he'd get the bartender to take the photo while these people are making out and he's like behind it. I don't know. I just thought it was hilarious. But anyways, so Fredo would make us this shot that he coined the sunshine shot. Sunshine shot. Oh my God, it was so delicious. Now, I'm not exactly sure what was in it, but I've tried to make it, and it tastes pretty close. So I think that it was vodka in a shot glass topped with orange juice, and then you dropped it in a glass of Red Bull, and then you had to chug it. Anytime you drop something in something, you have to chug it, right? Well, and it's a shot anyways. But the Red Bull gets your energy up, and you're like, woo! Like, ready to dance and party all night long. And, you know, the vodka gets you drunk, and the orange juice just tastes good. So, yeah, I think that's called the sunshine shot. And it was really good. So I would go over to Fredo and I would be like, sunshine shot? And he would be like, yeah, let's do it. And so he'd make us one. And like, we'd have like 2 or 3 of those with my one Guinness. And he wasn't charging me for these shots, mind you, okay? Like, those were his things that he gave out. And I'm sure that was probably not right. But thank you, Fredo, for all the shots. My poor ass college student could not afford them, so I really appreciate all the fun times. But anyways, yeah, so I brought so many different people there over many different times, but I just loved going there Friday nights. I think even sometimes because I knew so many people that worked at the bar that if I couldn't find someone to go with me on a Friday night, I would just go by myself because I just loved the music, loved dancing, and once you got in there, it didn't matter. And this was also like the other thing, like I don't really like dancing with guys. Like I don't like it when guys try to like dance up all on me, you know, like even my husband sometimes, like I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, this is fun, but it's like I have my own dance moves, okay? And I like to like live and do my thing and be artistic. This is my time to like let loose. And most guys can't keep up because they don't know what I'm doing. So so it was kind of like a fun place where you know, nobody was like necessarily trying to like dance up on you all crazy or anything, but you could kind of like just stand next to someone and be like, yeah, this is fun. You know. But yeah, anyways. So, another fun story about that place, and I don't know if I'm proud of it or if I'm embarrassed by it, but I'm going to share it anyways. So, it was a really busy night there, and I had to pee so bad. And I'm waiting and waiting, and like, the girls' bathroom was just a single stall in there. So you go in, lock the door, like everything's in there. They then had like a handicapped bathroom, which was exactly the same thing. I don't know why it was designated handicap. I'd be really impressed to see a handicapped person get down into that bar, to be honest, because I never saw anyone in a wheelchair down there. I mean, I know people have handicaps otherwise, but like, I don't know. It was just weird how it was set up. I guess maybe laws, they make you have handicap bathroom. But then they had a men's room. And of course, the men's room has like 2 stalls in there and, you know, outside of the thing. But the stalls didn't have doors on them. Okay, that's very important to the story. So there's one night, there was like this long line for the girls. And like a few girls went into the handicap bathroom and then a few girls went into the girls' bathroom. And we'll just say they were probably doing drugs. They were those kind of people. So I was getting so pissed off because I was like, people are like banging on the door, and the girls are like, "Get us up in it!" Like freaking out, you know. And all of us girls like waiting in line were just like, "Oh my god!" And the guys were just, of course, coming and going, coming and going. And I was like, I am going to freaking pee my pants if I don't go. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna go in the guys' room. So I go into the guys' room and I'm hovering over the toilet, and I told a girl, please tell a guy if he tries to come in here that I'm in here, because you couldn't lock any doors. And like I said, there were no doors on the stall. I was like, please tell him like to wait. And she was like, okay. She didn't do that. So the guy walks in, and there was 2 stalls with like sitting toilets, and then there was like out in the open, there was like a urinal, okay? So the guy comes in. I was like, I'm in here. There's a girl in here. I'm like, please don't come over to the stall and look. I'm almost done. I'll be done in a second. And he laughs, and he comes over, and he looks in the stall after I fucking told him not to. I was like, what the fuck, dude? And he's like laughing. He was like, oh, nice hover. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God, you are a piece of shit. Thank you for looking, right? So I'm mad. I don't even think there was toilet paper in there. I don't remember. I probably just shook it off or whatever. Maybe I wiped. I don't know what I did. Too much TMI, right? Too much information. Anyways, so I'm like, this motherfucker. So I get up, I look over at him, and he's peeing in the urinal. And I was like, that was really fucked up, dude. And he's still just laughing. So I kicked him in the butt. I was like, you know what? This is what you get for looking at me. And I kicked him in the butt while he was peeing, and he peed all over his shoes. And he was like, you fucking bitch. I was like, oh my God, we gotta go. So I ran out of the bathroom. And I was like, we gotta go. And my friends are like, why? And I was like, well, long story short, I couldn't get into the girls' bathroom, went in the guys' room. He looked at me, I kicked him while he was peeing, and he got pee all over his shoes. And they're like, okay, let's go. So we got out of there, and, no harm done to us. I guess, he got a little pee on his shoes, but he lives in New York City. There's probably all sorts of crap all over his shoes. A little pee is not going to hurt him. But yeah. Lots of interesting times in that place. Another story I'll tell you, and then I'll get on to the lesson. So I went there for my 21st birthday. My 21st birthday was really weird. Most of my good friends were not in town. So I had, at that point, been in like 2 relationships that weren't really relationships, and the guys weren't very nice guys, we'll just put it that way. They just like string you along sort of guys. So my friend, who I told you about earlier, that had, we had gone to this place to begin with in the first place. We went to this one place that I ended up working at called the Back Room, and we were having nice civilized cocktails. And he's friends with one of the guys that I like kind of seen for a while. And that guy and I had kind of ended stuff. So I was like, I'm not inviting him to my birthday. Like, that would be weird, right? He found out, like, because I was friends with a few of his friends. Like, we were all going to this place. He just showed up. He just showed up out of the blue. And then proceeded to call me a brat because I didn't invite him to my birthday. And this was on my 21st birthday. And I was like, wow, like, I don't know why you're here. So he kind of put me in a bad mood. Like, why would you do that to someone on their birthday, 21st birthday, mind you, as well. So he leaves, we leave, and we go to Home Sweet Home. So I walk into Home Sweet Home, and I'm, like, so happy to be there. Finds out that I'm just now... Sorry. Okay. Boop. Okay. Whoops. Sorry, I said the man's name I said I wasn't going to say, so I have to start the story over. Okay, I'm going to start it from the point of we left the back room, that guy was a jerk, now we're over to Home Sweet Home. So, we're there. Big Jimmy finds out that I'm now 21. He's like, oh, okay. Like, sorry. And he was like, it's okay. I still love you. Let me get you a shot for your birthday. I'm like, yes. Okay, let's do this. So we go downstairs, and I walk in, and Big Jimmy's buying me a shot. And it's not even busy because it's a Tuesday night. I'm pretty sure it was a Tuesday night because my birthday was on it was a Tuesday night. So I look over, and this other guy that I dated for a long time who strung me along and I think might be a legitimate sociopath. He is cray-cray, all right? He was there with the girl that he ultimately dumped me for. And she had her friends. And I had took him there. He didn't even know about that place until I showed him, okay? How annoying is that? Right? That's annoying when you show somebody a place and then you're no longer friends or friendly or anything, and then they go there. It's that's my place, dude. I come here all the time. And it's my birthday. You don't think I'm going to come here on my birthday? You showed up to this place with her friends from out of town to show them a good time and make yourself look so cool on my birthday. Wow, okay. Whatever. So I see him, and I was instantly pissed. And I had the shot. And I walked over to him with the shot, and I said, I can't believe you had the nerve to show up here. And he was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize it was your birthday. I was like, yeah, okay. And so I took the shot, and I'm still holding on to it. And my friend is realizing what's going on. So he's like, hey, let's come back over here. And then I just went off on him. And I think I called people a lot of names. And I don't think I said nice things about his girl. And man, how great is it not to be dating anymore? Oh my God, okay? How many losers there were that you get upset over, right? Supposedly, I threw the shot glass at her. I don't think I actually threw the shot glass at her. I think it just slipped out of my hand as I was being very animated. And I think it just slipped out of my hand in her direction. I'm serious. I'm not a super violent person, okay? I don't think I would intentionally throw it, but at this point I don't remember a lot because it was my 21st birthday. So yeah, that's the last story about that place. But I had gone there many times after that as a 21-year-old. We just had so much fun. That place was just so awesome, which is why it brings up so many nostalgic, awesome feelings and this time of year. So where I'm getting with this, right? I think that sometimes it's kind of hard for people. It's really fun getting married. It's really fun finding the love of your life and moving into that next phase, having someone that you're so comfortable with and share so many life moments with and build a life together, and you kind of start to become one in certain ways. But and I'm just going to throw this out here. I don't want to accuse anybody of this. I don't want to say this definitely is not me. I try to be very conscious of things that I'm feeling and stuff, so I just want to put it out there in this way. When people begin to get restless in their marriages, when they stop feeling important, when they start, resenting that feeling of one because they don't have their independence or they don't have, an identity outside of their marriage. Now, I want to preface this also with my husband and I, when we entered our marriage, we both had some really toxic relationships beforehand. And we were very open with one another. And one of the things is we did not set a lot of expectations for each other. Outside of the obvious of hey, please don't cheat on me. Hey, I like to spend time with you, in these certain ways, we definitely set those, but making expectations for one another as far as you have to do everything that I like and I have to do everything that you like. We leave each other a lot of room. So I just want to say that because everyone has their different versions of what that is. So we just have very low expectations for each other as far as like obligation wise, you know? So what I what I see sometimes in people's marriages, what you see reflect in like pop culture on TV and all of this is this like restlessness that people get that makes them search for themselves outside of their marriage and sometimes in a very like making very poor decisions. So, I recognize like I am so happy to be out of the dating pool. If you are in a dating pool, just hang in there. You will find the right person at some point in your life. Um, but I feel for you because it's hard. And it can be really fun. You can make it really fun, but it's like when I think back on it now, it's like, oh man, like all those fucking losers that I had to hang out with for so long and was just so like dense to like, hey, this isn't your person, you know? It's just like, man, I wasted so much time on those people. But it's like there's something when you're looking for that person that I think people, you know, are nostalgic for and try to recreate, and it's that feeling of like having your identity and being like your person and you're just like the singular thing. You know, once you get married, you have to think about all these other things. And then if you have a family on top of it, you know, your kids become everything. So it's like, for me, I recognize that I have these little moments where I find myself and it's like, I'm not in the life that I ever thought I would be in. I've shared that with you guys. I have found ways to enjoy it, but like this is not what I would have chosen for myself. If I could be living anywhere, sans COVID, you know, but I would live in New York City. I love that city, and I, you know, or maybe LA, but honestly, like if I could just be somewhere and just exist, I would be in New York City. So knowing that, it's like, okay, well, I live in rural Alabama, right? So when I get nostalgic during this time of year and I have these feelings, I'm just like, man, you know, like I miss that time in my life. And it's like what I miss is just being able to like go out at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30, go to this really cool bar, be young, get in because I'm cute, you know, don't have to pay anything, get my free shot, like, and then dance my butt off. And that's what's so much fun to me. But I've realized what of all of that is what I like? Well, the most of it that I like is just getting to go and dance and listen to this like cool music that I hadn't like you don't hear all the time and just kind of be free and nobody's judging you. Everyone else looks all weird, dancing all crazy and stuff too. So like what I do is my husband will be sitting on the couch playing on his phone or like looking on TV. Usually he's like playing a game on his phone. So I let him have his moment and he doesn't mind. I'll just turn up this music and I'll try to find like the best playlist I can find that like replicates it. And I'll get my drinks together, you know, and I'll be drinking and it'll be like my Friday or Saturday night. And in my head, I just go to Home Sweet Home. Like I'm dancing and being all crazy and he's sitting there not trying to dance with me, which I like. Every once in a while he'll look over and be like, "You're cute, baby." Like, thanks, honey. You know? And so, yeah, so my point is like, that's kind of the lesson in this. It's like, I get so nostalgic sometimes for these seasons of my life that I just don't have access to anymore and maybe don't really exist as a married person. But I've evolved and I can recognize that, okay, like I'm feeling this way and here's my solution, you know? And it's so much fun. And yeah, I'm not in that musky bar paying for overpriced drinks and getting my free shot. But you know, it's something close that I can kind of in my mind trick myself into feeling like this is cool, you know? And maybe one day, I don't know if Home Sweet Home made it through COVID. I'm like too scared to look to see if they're still open or not. Maybe they even shut down before COVID happened. I don't know. But I hope they made it through, and I hope one day I can take Cliff there, because that would be really fun to show him that. But yeah. All right, guys. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. Yeah, I just thought that it would be a fun story to share, because, like I said, I get nostalgic every time this time of year, and it's seriously like clockwork. And every year kind of brings something else and something else. And I think it's really fun that I for myself identified that hey, because I try to be self-reflective, It's like, oh, I miss this, and it's like, what can I do about it? Okay, well, I can try to recreate it in my way now. And now that's what that is now, I always have Home Sweet Home that I can dream about and reflect on that time, because it was such a special time. But this is a really special time too. There'll be a time that I look back on in the early years of my marriage where we were just, hanging out at home, and I'm dancing all crazy, and we're still young, and it's still fun. And I just hope that we can kind of keep that going. But not having expectations on people, and being honest with yourself and what you need, and when you have those little itches, of because I don't think, people do stuff, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, because that's not really my point of why I'm saying this, but I think people cause problems in their situations because they're not being fulfilled in a certain way. And I think our identities are really important, and I think having one in a marriage is really important. Being somebody outside of your person is still very important. But sometimes, because of how life works and how your free time works and all of that, you don't necessarily get to have that, It kind of ends up intertwined together. So finding little ways that you can be yourself without, having to bottle it up, and then, maybe it explodes in a way that you regret later, or, whatever that is. I'm not trying to be negative here. But the point is to just take time for yourself. Remember that you have always been this person. If that's something I've always enjoyed dancing and going out and dancing. Okay, trying to wrap it up, but I'll give you one more thing. So even when Cliff and I do go out, he is so freaking cute. I call him Dance Dad. Not a weird daddy thing, but I will be dancing all crazy and stuff, and he just lets me do my thing. And a lot of times he'll end up he'll get drunk too, and it's not in his nature to dance, which is why we're also so perfect for each other, because it's I don't want you to dance with me anyways. Let me do my thing. And so he'll end up videotaping me. And then we wake up the next day, and I'm just oh my God. I'm so embarrassing. And he just thinks I'm the cutest ever. He's just yeah, baby. Woo. It's you need somebody like that on your team that supports the freak that you are, But anyways, so again, the point is, when you're having these moments, when you're having these itches, when you're feeling super nostalgic, find ways to incorporate them into what your new life is, and make it to how that can now be a moment that you look upon, I will look upon these times of living in Alabama and how silly and fun they were when it was just us and, this very simple life. Who knows what the future holds for us, but it'll be cool that this will now be my thing, So anyways, cheers, guys. I hope you enjoyed this story. This was really fun for me to share, especially because I'm feeling so nostalgic right now. Probably going to do a little dancing later. Maybe you guys will get a little peek at my fun dance moves. Maybe not. We'll see. It'll be a surprise. All right, cheers, guys. Bye.